where we're at, TNT. They come up with the new signs every year, Richo.
They do.
Over to you to interpret them.
What's that mean, Daisy? You're probably better at this than me.
Come back to you.
You blow it up, blow stuff up.
It's out
You
the
do
full.
with TNT.
And there's
If I didn't have my TV on mute, we would have noticed that.
Eggy should be fixing it now, guys. Hopefully you can hear us now. No?
If I didn't have my TV
There
on
we
mute-
go. There's my mic working. But yeah.
I think we're going to have to start again, Eggy.
We're going to have to start again. So anyway, I'm Eggy. And beside me, I didn't think we are going to have Taz, but Taz is here with us tonight. So come fresh off the boat, or should I say off the plane. And we have Turtle filling in for Todd. Thanks, Turtle, for coming down.
No,
So-
thanks for having me, guys.
Yep, we did make a new background that we spoke of. But yeah.
I didn't know about this background until literally we went live. So I do want to apologise to all the non-Collingwood supporters. This is trash.
And we didn't know that you were coming tonight, so that was kind of the plan, but, it just works out even better now.
Yeah, I just
Jeez.
fucked it. I do that a lot.
Well, it is a Bonnie Blues thing to do.
Eggy did mention it before, but if you haven't yet, check out our store. We've got some great t-shirts on there. It's due to the creative mind of Mr. Eggy.
Yep.
That way, I always get this wrong. But yeah, there's especially after the weekend with Wacko for Caco, that should be flying off the shelves.
Yeah, hopefully. And I got a few more I'm thinking about. I got the lizard. I think he deserves one. And I think there's another one too. I can't remember who it was, but yeah, we'll see how we go.
Love it, mate.
But yeah, and also I was talking about tipping. If you haven't yet, make sure you join. The link's down below in the description. We're giving away it's jackpotting next week to $60 because it didn't go off this week, and we've got $250 for the main prize, $100 for second, and $50 for third. And yeah, beautiful. That's down below. I think the highest score's on about 10 at the moment. So
Yeah, I'm far off that. I think I'm on like 5.
Yeah, I'm on 5. I've had a few blunders.
Yes, I just want to do a quick shout out to Solly for tipping Richmond.
Well done, Solly.
The one and only out of what 54 or 55 on the tipping.
Yep, that's good effort.
This is
That is
good.
very good.
All right, should we get stuck into it,
All
boys?
right. Yep. Speaking of Richmond, let's dive into that game. Do you want to lead us off, Taz? Did you get to watch that game?
I actually got to watch quite a bit of footy. I had to, so I paid for the Watch AFL, which you can only do when you're overseas.
Yep.
It is a rip.
It
It
is.
costs $25 for 1 week, and it's minute to minute for 1 week. So I bought it at 11:53 Sunday week ago, and it literally renewed or went to renew at 11:53 the following Sunday. It's not until the midnight on that day. So I thought that was quite extravagant. However, unfortunately, I did get to watch this game, and if I wasn't bored, I would have been by the end of this game anyway. What about you boys? Did you watch it?
Oh, we did. I thought Carlton were away come the end of the second quarter with now 41 points in front. Well, actually, I think in the last quarter, end of the quarter was only 30 something. But yeah, but then Richmond just come out of the guns running in the second half and come away with it.
Yeah, I was at the pub and I was watching, and my first thoughts in the first quarter though were Carlton looked bad. Like, they were constantly just throwing it on the boot over their shoulder when they weren't under pressure. They were missing tackles and hand. They got. I was looking at the stats today. Overall, you had 5 players with 30 plus disposals in Carlton, and Richmond only had 2. Yet that percentage was just horrible with what they did with it. They
Yeah,
dominated getting the ball, but didn't do anything with it.
it was really poor. There was only a few passages of play in the first half where we actually lowered the eyes in, and when we did that, we did look good. The first thing I noticed were players were slipping. Our players, not Richmond, Carlton players, were slipping over at nearly every contest we went to. And then we'll just, missing targets. I think we had 3 players above 80% disposal efficiency, and Richmond had 10. So that
Yeah.
was a huge difference in the game there.
I think my biggest takeaway from that, though, one was, I guess, a positive for Carlton was Tom De Koning. He was fantastic.
Yeah,
He was really good, and kind of sad to see, lose that game when he's, was that good.
absolutely.
And,
We'll
and
touch on
considering
this.
his opponent was Richmond's best player, which was Nank.
And Nang's a good player. He's a
Yeah.
tough physical ruckman. Some of Tom's tap work to advantage was outstanding. We would get it and then just bomb along, and it was the most frustrating thing. Kept doing it last year. I don't know. We need to fix that, and if we don't fix it, which I don't, I thought we would have done that in the off season. It's going to be another long year.
I'm not worried for Carlton. I think they'll bounce back.
I think so too. I think Collingwood had the same run last week on their first game and they bounced back. So I think a lot of these teams are due for a bounce back this week.
It's going to be tough though. Hawks at the moment look outstanding.
Yes, they do. But they just gotta they don't have to win, but they do have to compete. And if they look a lot better, it's going to show a lot better signs.
That is true. That is true. We'll move on to the next game. Hawthorn Essendon. I actually really like this game.
It was a great game for what I saw of it.
It was a good watch.
Was watching most of the first half on my phone, but then I got home for the second half. That was for sure. But yeah,
I think watching Hawthorn, their quick transition from normally teams are trying to get that lead up mark to go up the wing. They're getting that perfect balanced kick over the head, so the defender's actually in front, and then they're 5 steps behind, and they're constantly just getting it up the ground quickly that way, which is a huge talent to have, and they're moving it so fast. But is it sustainable running that hard every game for 23 weeks of the year?
I think they'll have a lull. Nearly every team in the competition now will have a lull at some stage during the year because the competition's that even. And we saw that last year. Every team had a bit of a lull for anywhere between 3 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
It could cost them a final spot if it happens. But Hawthorn are young, they're energetic. I think that they will, if they can continue this game style, then I think they're definitely in with a top 2 finish the way they're playing. But like you said, Turtle, is it sustainable? We won't know. Not until
I won't
later.
know. But I don't know about you boys, but they come out to Travis Scott's Fiend. I don't know about you, but I felt pretty pumped up when I heard that song as well. So
I didn't even notice that.
yeah, they walked out to it. Pardon?
Which song did they come out to?
Fiend by Travis Scott. Fiend, Fiend, Fiend. So it's yeah, it got me up and about. That's for sure.
It was good to see Guinea and Wiz back in on it. Like,
Yeah.
he's had a very bad week the week before. But the only thing, and this is the only thing, and it's not a dig at them or Hawthorn, well, in a sense, but they're too good of a team to constantly keep leading with their head. Moore does it, Newcomb does it, Guinea does it, Wiz does it. They're constantly going for these high free kicks, and they do. And actually, the Wiz should have been paid 1 or 2, but it wasn't. And Guinea ended up with the same problem at Collingwood because they played for it so much. When it's deserved, they're not getting it. And Hawthorn's just too good to play that way. They don't need to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love that they take the game on, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very much so. Also, just catch on the chat. Brady said, let's talk about the supporters. Carlton supporters I didn't hear much about it. Did you hear anything about it, Turtle? I don't think Taz would have been overseas. But were they...
No, I only saw there was one when the boys were going down the run at the end of the game. There was one guy leaning over, abusing, that sort of stuff. And there was a lady there that kept grabbing him saying, back off type of stuff. But if that's what they're talking about, that's the only thing I saw from it. It was pretty poor.
I remember last year, players did, actually a lot of supporters did that over the fence. Carlton supporters and then Essendon supporters did it later in the year as well. It's not on. I know you're frustrated. Abusing people's not going to change the situation.
Nah.
No, that's poor. Small forwards for Hawthorn. They dominated this game.
Yep.
Moore, Watson, Guinea's kind of a medium small hybrid. Blake Hardwick's kind of a medium small as well, but they all kicked multiple goals each, if not 3.
Yeah.
Well, I think I did have Dylan Moore in a multi, but I do know it took him a while to kick a goal. That's for sure.
It did. The one thing for Essendon, I would say positive, they actually looked they looked better.
Yes.
But Caldwell, he was, or Caldwell, however you pronounce it, he was amazing. He had 36 touches.
Yep.
Yeah.
Huge. And Dersma was quite good too.
Everywhere. Dersma was good. I thought Durham was real good late.
Yes,
he was in the hard ball, feeding handball out. That's what Essendon need. They need that type of in and under player, and he's actually giving them that. He finished on 23 touches. But I want to say a huge... I did read something today on the flight, and someone was like, Dylan Shield played half back. However, he should never play there again because he turns the ball over. Because he turned the ball over too much. Have they forgotten what he plays like? He's never been able to kick the fucking ball.
No, I don't understand. Yeah, that was just the way he's always been.
It's not new.
I think Essendon. They got all their defenders are intercept defenders. They don't have a lockdown defender, and you can see that by when the long bombs are coming in, they're actually doing it right. But you go up against a team like Hawthorn with all those small forwards you mentioned, you got no lockdown defender. They're going to run right.
Yeah, I think Mackay can play lockdown, but they need, can play intercept, but they need him to lock down. He is the tallest key back they've got. He's the most built. Look, Reed looked pretty good at times. He definitely
did like Reed.
He definitely did get outmarked a few times as well, but that's just because he's young and he's not built properly yet. But he finished with 9 marks in the end, so I thought he was good.
He also got clotheslined.
And he did. And another positive was Carl Amon for Hawthorn. 643 metres gained, 28 disposals, with 21 of them being kicks.
Yeah, that's huge.
That's a massive game for him.
I think he topped the super coach for them as well, that game.
I'm pretty sure you're correct. Yes. Yep.
Welcome, George Speechley, to the chat. And now we're going to have a look at a bit of Geelong versus Freo.
Just before you do,
yes.
George, I just want to apologise for the fucking background, okay?
That's all right. It's changed now. He hasn't seen it, so.
Oh, hasn't he?
So we've got the games up behind us at the moment, so we can see the scores.
Oh, I love it. Next game you're saying Geelong Freo, Eggy.
Yes. I didn't get to watch much of it. I was at work, but I did see the scoreline, which was pretty outrageous to start off with. And I think they clawed it back in the second or third, and then they took it. Geelong ran away again with a 10-goal last quarter. I'm pretty sure.
Did you watch this one, Turtle?
Yeah, I did. I watched it up until pretty much the end. So the first half, Geelong just blew it open. Fremantle just couldn't get their hands on the ball through the centre. Then in that third quarter, they actually had I think they got 6 or 7 goals in a row. Like they just kept smacking them on. and thought, oh, this actually, we might have a game on our hands. And then before you knew it, Geelong had just doubled the score again, like within one quarter. Like they just racked on another 8 or 9 goals. It was ridiculous.
Yep.
Sam De Koning, same as Tom. He looked fantastic in the ruck.
He spent all off season there, so that's good.
Yeah, he did really, really well. Bailey Smith, 32 on a goal in his first
Yeah.
game in Geelong, and his first game in over a year.
Well, yeah, almost 2 years. Oh, no, not
Yeah.
yeah.
7 clearances from what I read here, so it looks like he was playing on the ball.
Yeah. And I say the only positive I got out of Freo would be Jaeger Amira. That was the best game he's ever played for Fremantle. He was everywhere. He was in and under. He was in and out of the contest, just making space. Like you look like you're watching a Nick Dacos or Paddy Cripps or Isaac Heaney or something. He was just obliterating when he got the ball.
So was he the Jaeger of old before he got all his injuries at
Yeah.
Gold Coast?
It's like I said, I've never seen him play a game like that in the purple.
Because that's how in the purple, definitely, because that's how he was finishing his
Gold Coast.
games at Gold Coast.
Yep.
Yeah.
Actually, Artie's just put, which I want to get your input actually, this Turtle, because I think you mentioned something like this. Artie's put Geelong still Ump's pet favourite. I think you feel like Geelong would
In the first quarter, there was 4 times I'd say Geelong were caught red-handed with the ball in the goal square, and nothing was paid. And there was a few fans. There was quite a few Freo fans, surprisingly, at Geelong. They weren't very impressed with it. And I think you look at the kick from Stengel to Cameron, the mark in the goal square, it was a total of about 7 metres. That was called a mark, where Freo were being pinged all day for kicks that were probably close to 20 metres, 15 not play on. And that was kind of a theme I found over the last 2 weeks. Even in the practice preseason, like the tape measures out the window. The 8-metre ones are getting called yes, and then 20 metres aren't.
Like there's been a focus on it more so this year as well, and I think they're probably trying to overdo it a little bit, as they do. We probably find the start of every season that they're focusing on 1 or 2 specific rules.
Yeah.
One of the other rules that I've noticed that kind of has gone out the window is dropping the ball.
Yeah.
Players are getting tackled. The players just letting the ball go, and this happened at the start of last year as well. They're not even attempting to make an effective disposal, like get a handball or anything, and then it's just play on.
Yeah, and there was a few occasions of this, and then on the other end, I don't know who the Freo player was, but it was in a ball up, and he got up and he got the ball and was tackled like before his feet even hit the ground, and it was classed as holding the ball, like right in front of Geelong's goal, and like that was kind of set the tone for, I guess, the Fremantle fans not being very impressed. Oh, we lost Taz.
Oh, yep, he's frozen.
So he looks very serious right now.
He does look very serious. We'll see what happens, see if he can make it back. But yeah. Then we look into Sydney v Brisbane, which is probably near the game of the round. It was the closest game of the round, but it probably wasn't my favourite game of the round.
But that's what a grand final replay should be, though.
Oh, that's what the grand final should have been. That would have been perfect if that one.
Yep, 100%. Amazing contested game. Dunkley, huge game, 27 disposals, goal, 10 tackles. I guess the only negatives was I think Brisbane are still lacking that tall forward, missing Danaher big time.
Yep.
Hipwood had, I think, 5 touches at 40%, like just terrible. Zach Bailey kicked 4 goals, and he's not your typical forward.
But Loman was out early too, wasn't he?
And Loman went down within 10 minutes, I think. So I think looking at it, it was a great game. Brisbane, great team, yes, but their forward line could be a problem when they come up against specific teams that have, I guess, a stronger defence, because I think that's maybe where Sydney's weak point now is their defence.
Yep. Then we probably go into our favourite game of the round.
Yes.
Where we saw Collingwood demolish Port Adelaide by 91 points.
That was amazing. Too old, too slow.
How do you feel about Scott Pendlebury starting on the bench? I actually quite liked it. I think it suits him. And then going off for another oldie, Howe.
Yeah.
Yep.
I liked it. I think they're managing it well. Am I worried Pendle may be carrying an injury we don't know about, and they're just kind of gifting him some game time to get that record up? Who knows?
Yes.
Because he did struggle against the Giants. I noticed last week, like in the heat. So I don't know if it was a tactical move or if it's more so Pendlebury's just uh, carrying an injury, or maybe he is starting to slow down. Other than that, the Triple M's, 10 goals between them. Membry, first 3 goals of the game.
Yes, and Doc's even put Houston was amazing. He was amazing. It was all over the place, but I expected that going up against his old team, especially with what Connor Rosie said about him.
I saw that.
No, Houston was, just absolutely phenomenal. And then Maynard kicks 2 goals from 50 within 2 minutes.
I was like, I had a shower at halftime and come back out and was like, Turtle, what have I missed? What's going on? How is Maynard kicked 2 goals? Is he playing forward or?
Yeah, no, Collingwood just locked it in. Like they just could not. We'd get the clearance, we'd get into our forward line, and Port could just not get it out. So Dan Houston, Maynard, Quaynor, Darcy Moore, they were just set up. Basically from the edge of the centre square, and Port just had no chance of getting out.
You guys actually looked quick from what I saw. It was a complete turnaround from the week before, and it was fantastic. You made Port look old and slow.
But I think we made as many tackles in a quarter and a half than we did in the entire game the week before.
Yep, absolutely. Well, Lockie Schultz, 7 tackles, 17 disposals, probably one of his better games for the club.
Yeah, I like he's sort of like a defensive sort of forward. I like in the way he's been playing.
He's playing a lot more half forward wing kind of at the moment.
Yep.
And I think, and kind of like what Guinea's doing at Hawthorn, and I think it actually suits him well, and especially with that body size.
Yep. They're not going to kick a lot of goals though, and a lot of supporters need to understand that, especially when Collingwood do lose. They tend to target the small forwards who aren't kicking goals, not looking at the other parts of the game that they're actually contributing to.
Yeah, well, he was, I think they said last year, the highest pressure tackling forward in the league.
Yeah,
like that's that's his role essentially now.
Some supporters don't understand that though.
The only thing that it's still grinding my gears, and he was a Collingwood supporter, Darcy Cameron. I think he is great around the ground, but he was bested by Lockie Keefe in the ruck the week before, and he was bested by Jordan Sweet. Our centre clearances have gone down dramatically when he's in the ruck, and he's not a great tap ruckman.
It's interesting you say that because he got 22 hit outs, Sweet got 36. Sweet got 1 clearance. Darcy Cameron got 7 clearances, but they both had 14 disposals.
Yeah. But it's that hit out, especially when we add DeGoey or Mitchell back into the mix. And I think that, because at the moment, Nick's been tagged very hard and he's our clearance monster at the moment. So maybe that'll change when we add in DeGoey because I'll have someone else to focus on or who actually can get through to get the ball. But when you weigh up the comparisons and you watch when Cox in the ruck and Cameron is, our centre clearances are actually much higher because Cox can actually hit the ball further or in a more specific direction.
Yes.
Yeah.
But before we move forward, Taz, because you dropped out, did you want to see anything to add about the grand final rematch, Sydney versus Brisbane?
Give me a second and I will just bring that up on my second screen. I'm a little bit out of whack because as I mentioned, I am very sleep deprived, but I think my laptop was too.
Also, Jamar's put in the chat, what will Brisbane do next week versus the West Coast Eagles? I reckon they'll demolish them at home, but we'll dive into that a bit later in the show. But thanks for dropping by, and thanks, Doc, for interacting with Jamar for us while we were too busy chatting.
Love it. Absolutely love it. I didn't see the end of the Sydney-Brisbane game, so I can't really comment too much on it. I thought Amadi was going to come out and have a better game, so I don't know what happened there. He sort of dropped off a little bit. But Dunkley went huge, 615 metres gained, 10 tackles, 27 disposals and a goal.
Yeah, he was, and lucky he was in my draft, even though I lost that by 8 points.
Salty.
Yeah, it was just because Stephen May was taken out. I was driving the kids back home in the car and I heard on the radio, Stephen May late out. Check.
Yeah, it's shit when that happens. But it's good we got the flex for that reason.
Yes, that's true.
I'll say before we move on to the next one, one thing with Port Adelaide, Jason Horne-Francis, I think he has loads of talent, but when they're losing, he seems disinterested and he gets lazy, and he reminds me a lot of Stringer.
That's what he was doing when he was at North Melbourne as well.
Yep.
Yeah. And like I think Kane Corns put up a video of him when Nick Dacos ran through the middle. He was Nick Dacos's opponent. Dacos got free. The ball went to the forward line, and by the time Nick had actually got to 30 metres out and kicked that goal, JHF was still in the centre square.
Yeah, there's no commitment. But Port had given up by halfway, actually by half time, realistically. Pies were that far out in front, and it looked like Port had just thrown the towel in already.
Yeah.
Which realistically, if one team can do that in a half, there's no reason to say that you can't come out and do the same thing back to them in the second half.
100%. Look at Richmond.
That's right. Exactly right. I just want to touch on Jeremy Finlayson. His move to half back has been very, very clever by
Yes.
Hinkley.
Yes.
He looks great back there.
He does, but I think it's probably not the best time to judge him after that game because Port Adelaide did get demolished throughout the centre.
Yep.
Yeah, but
their defence was under a lot of pressure the entire game.
Yeah, even
Sorry,
Aliir was looking a bit bad in some stages, but I think with Membry, like the Triple M forward line, I think with all three of them, they're all sort of, I don't know, it's just hard to pick one to take out because the other one's coming through. So always three good options there, and then you got Bobby Hill and Jamie Elliott flying over the top of you as well, even though you're 2 meters tall.
or getting the ground balls front and center.
Yeah,
I'm actually really surprised on how quick Membry is though. Like I thought he'd be a lot slower, but he's quick around the body kicks and stuff, and quick decisions are much faster for someone his size than usual.
Yep.
I like Membry. I've always liked Membry.
But then now we move into the other blockbuster game that was on Saturday night at the same time, which I don't know why. But we had Bulldogs versus North Melbourne, which ended up being it was fairly close. Like North Melbourne showed good times. Obviously, I didn't watch much of it because I was watching the Pies play. But they did look a lot better than last year, and I think they're gonna be very competitive this year.
I watched more of this game than I did the Pies. I was trying to flick back and forward, which it was hard on my phone.
Yep.
I loved this game, to be honest. What I saw from North Melbourne, the grit and the determination to start coming back in the second quarter, because they were getting smashed in the first quarter. A lot of it due to inaccuracy, and inaccuracy, loses games of footy.
Yes.
So North Melbourne had 27 regard. I liked the way that North went about it. Bulldogs had a few players back that I didn't realise. I didn't realise Norton was going to be playing.
Yeah, I didn't realise either until Turtle said he was putting them in.
And Richards as well.
Yeah,
Richards. Yeah, exactly. And Richards, what a game he had. He was fantastic. Bailey Dale looked like he was back to his normal running back style game that we know and love. And Libba does what Libba does in and under all the time. So, sorry, my dog's barking and I don't know.
That's all right. I thought it was mine for a second there. I was like, how's it coming through the microphone?
Apologies. But
That's all right.
that was a good game. North, what hurt North was their turnovers.
Yes.
They turned the ball over so many times. I thought Carlton was bad on Thursday. North were just as bad.
Yeah.
They sound again. What's happened? Hello. Mine's working.
Is the sound dropping in and out?
Oh, I don't know.
Interesting. Testing.
Interesting. Maybe I'm having some internet issues as well.
Thursday.
No, it's coming through on this end.
Oh, yep, I hear it.
Is it for all three of us? I don't know if they can hear or not. It might be my internet cutting in and out.
Yeah. Well, to me, it hasn't been cutting out when talking to you.
Yeah, I just took my TV off mute and I can hear everyone.
Oh, yep.
Okay, all right. George has put in here, Kennedy done well. Blues should have kept him. I think it's still too early to judge on that one. He would have been good for Carlton on Thursday night, but then we've still got a very one-dimensional midfield. But he'll be playing that Bontempelli role a bit more this year, I think, until Bont comes back. And then it will be interesting to see what role he has.
Oh.
All right,
Yeah,
you
Bro-
might do something about the sound there.
Yeah. Brody says I'm getting like 1 second to sound. I don't know what the.
Then we've still got a very one-dimensional midfield. But he'll be playing that Bontempelli role a bit more this year. Sounds okay from what I can hear.
Yeah.
And it will be
Yeah.
rock.
And
You
also-
might need to restart YouTube, Brody. I'm not too sure. Sorry, mate.
No, well, I think Artie's having the same issues, and so was Doc as well. So
That's weird.
it is.
That's
weird.
very weird.
Yep.
We'll keep moving forward. Hopefully, we don't have any more connection issues.
Yes, hopefully. Yeah, Adelaide versus St Kilda. Adelaide come out with a bang, and they're all over them first. But I think St Kilda slowly started to draw their way back in the second half.
Brody's took the foot off the ball.
Yeah, I listened to it on the radio, and it was completely one-sided the entire game. And by the sounds of it, one Adelaide, are they potentially a top 8 contender, maybe top 4, with how they with their forward line seems to be structured now. Rankin in the midfield, Dawson, Keys, like that, they all actually seem to be doing. Crouch, they all seem to be doing very well.
Mate, you left off one of my favourite players there. Soligo.
Absolutely, yeah. And Rochelle's back too. Like, they were all, back to that real, I guess that form they were towards the end of 23.
Absolutely. Another player who he actually could push for the Brownlow this year is Rankin.
Yes.
28 touches, I think 2 goals, 1. Oh, I've got it next to me. Hang on. 28 touches, 2 goals, 1, 7 clearances, 5 tackles, and 332 meters gained. That's a fantastic all-round game from him.
Yeah. And the only thing I got out of that is Ross Lyon is not the man. He's apparently the most defensive coach there is, and yet there was no sign of defense, let alone any form of attacking in that game.
Ah. But just before this game too, or was it Thursday or Friday? They re-signed for another year or another 2 years.
Yeah, which was a little bit interesting. And I was talking to Zoe, who we know is a diehard St Kilda fan, and she was saying that even she was a little bit perplexed as to why they've extended him, because he hasn't actually shown anything yet.
Well, I think not last year, the year before they made finals, but then they dropped out.
There we go, Brady. Sound was fixed when I closed YouTube and reopened.
Beautiful. Great, guys. Great. Look, to be fair to St Kilda, they have got a ton of injuries to top 22 players.
Yep.
They
That
do,
is fair.
even top
That
10
is fair.
players.
Yep.
Yeah, they do. But I'm just trying to look at putting Marshall forward. Was that really the right move as well?
I don't think so. I love Marshall in the ruck.
Because by the sounds of it, they just got dominated in the centre every single contest.
Well, O'Brien's not an elite ruckman by any means.
No, that's what I mean. Take advantage of that situation.
Yeah, Marshall's fantastic when he plays sole ruck. He really is. And we've seen it time and time again. He plays like Brodie Grundy used to play, where he would do the ruck work and then he would do the follow-up game plan as well. But he's one of the rucks that can actually sit forward and kick goals and be damaging in the same game, while he's being relieved through the middle. So that sort of confused me a little bit. I don't know if they'll run with it again. But yeah, I think Rowan Marshall as sole ruck is the way they need to move forward.
And I feel sorry for anyone that has him in their Supercoach team, because I don't think he would have scored well if he spent most of the day sitting in the forward line.
Yeah, I actually didn't even look to see what he scored.
He did not score much at all.
Yeah.
At all. So
he was a $550,000, $600,000 player.
Yeah, because of his last year.
Yeah.
Last year, he finished really strong. I read something today on the plane. I can't remember who it was. It might have been Kane Corns come out and said that he really doesn't like the fact that Jack Macrae is playing midfield for St Kilda. I just want to say, hang on a second.
Where do you play him?
That's what they recruited him for. He wants them to put Nasiah Wanganeen Miller through the middle, some of the younger players, and get a bit of speed on the ball.
But he went out injured, didn't he, in about the third quarter or something?
No,
No, he didn't.
No. But they need Jack Macrae in there to get the ball, to dish it out to these fast players. That's what they recruited him for. He had 34 touches, 12 clearances. I don't see an issue with him playing midfield. What do you think?
No, I don't see an issue with it either.
He's same reason Collingwood picked up Tom Mitchell. He's he's a collector. And if you get a collector that can handball it off, like a Darcy Parish as well. Tom Rockcliffe used to be the same. Just someone that can collect and then just pass it on to the skillful players to get it in the forward line.
Well, that's what they got Zach Jones for originally, but he's so injury prone, he hasn't been reliable. Another reason they got Paddy Dow, again, injury prone, hasn't been reliable. I think Jack McGray is a great pickup for them.
Yes, he is. He's in my Supercoach thing, so I expect him to go up in price. That's for sure. Then we moved into another close one. We had Melbourne v GWS, but I think the weather might have played a lot of part in this as well, because it got pretty wet in that game.
20,000 people at the G. It looked empty.
Oh, that's huge. That's a massive crowd for these two teams.
Did you see the water coming down though? I was like, I would have stayed away as well.
Yeah.
I didn't see a lot of this game.
Plus, it was a Grand Prix weekend, so.
George has put he listens to Kane Corns. I actually don't mind listening to Kane Corns. It's always controversial and it's always against the grain, so that's why
he knows how to make the media money. That's why
doesn't he? That's why Channel 7 signed him.
Yeah, but he just doesn't care either. He just comes out and says what he thinks, and
yeah.
Some of the stuff, I guess, like most media people, some stuff I agree with, some stuff I don't. Sometimes I think he's really, really bang on with his criticism.
Occasionally, the clock is always right.
Yeah, exactly. Tom Green, good to see him back.
Yes,
he was good.
And Keith for after the siren, or no, it wasn't after the siren, just before the siren. Yeah. Siren gets in the win.
No,
he'd been pretty ordinary through the game.
Yeah, I know.
It was definitely closer than I expected, but it was really good to see Gawn, Track, Cleary, Viney all together again. Like, not at their best yet, but you can see that they can get to their best.
Yes, and if they can, they're definitely in top 4 push.
No, they've still got. I've always said they've got a great midfield. Exceptional midfield, really strong defense. Their issue is their forward line. They just don't have. Really, you can't class Bailey Fritsch as a superstar full forward.
He's not a key forward either. This is the problem. They've had to play him as their full forward, key forward, but he's not. He's like that medium tall hybrid.
He's like a Lockie Schultz.
Yep.
Yeah. Or probably more a Guinea. I think he's roughly a bit taller than Guinea. Which is not great. I mean, they've got that Aiden Johnson guy that they picked up in I think it was mid-season or SSP period. He's going to take a bit of time to get used to the level, but I like the look of him. He crashes packs. He reminds me of Nathan Jones, just without tattoos. But I do like the way he goes about it.
I just think they might struggle scoring in future games if they're going to be relying on basically their midfield to be scoring 90% of their goals.
Yeah. Van Rooyen, it's time for him to sort of do a bit more.
But also Toby Green, he was sensational.
He's back to his damaging best.
He was incredible.
Yep. He's on this year.
No fines this week? No fines this week?
No, not this week, no. And I did see one, I can't remember who it was, one of the, media personalities was saying, he shouldn't have been playing and, he should have been suspended last week. So just get over it.
Jamar's put, how are we all? I'm good. I can't speak for you boys. I'll let you guys talk.
I'm tired.
No, I'm happy. I'm good.
Then we moved into the last one where Gold Coast defied the odds of last year and won away.
Mate, huge for their confidence.
Yes, great for their confidence.
I know it's against West Coast, but they lost this game last year.
Yes.
Rao was an absolute beast.
Was he? I didn't watch the game.
Just watching him, he's going to be. I don't know if any contending team is going to be able to afford to put him on their list.
Jeez.
He is going to be, and Moyes has always said this, that he'll be probably the top paid player
in the league.
And what I saw of him playing against West Coast, he's scary to go against.
Well, he's trimmed down in the off season, which we spoke about on one of our earlier shows, and I'm assuming he's done that so he can actually run games out better. Because I do remember the media sort of having a dig at him, might have been last year or the year before, saying he'll get you that 20 to 23 disposals or 18 to 23 disposals per game. But being a midfielder, he needs to be up around that 30 mark. And
Yeah.
I think on the weekend he did get 30. And I know in the practice match he got around that 30 mark as well. So if he can start doing that and be damaging and still get his, 5 to 10 tackles a game, that's huge. That's great contribution to the team.
I reckon that he's going to be, if he keeps this up for the entire year, he'll stay at the Suns because they'll probably be able to offer, anywhere between 1.6 and 1.8 million, a year over, a long contract or something.
Yep.
And I don't think any Melbourne team that he would like to go to as a contender would have that money to put on the table.
He's also played all his footy with Noah Anderson, who's his best mate, who's now captain of the club, and also taken his game to another level, mind you.
And Ben King, the better of the Kings.
Yes, he took a screamer on the weekend. I watched a bit of highlights when I could. That's good. And Miller, good to see him back in the side, but he's also hitting the scoreboard.
Yeah, we just won't talk about Ainsworth, will we? Will.
Nah, no, we won't talk about Hainsworth. Also, speaking of Matty Rowell, do you reckon he could be a smoky for the Brownlow if they get a lot more wins this year?
I don't. I think because Anderson and him are going to take votes off each other, similar to Barker and Oliver. And Miller's there as well. They've got that three-pronged midfield who all actually can poll votes really well.
And Rioli's there now too.
Yep.
And what about the game that Bailey Smith had for Geelong? Do you reckon he could be a smoky for the Brownlow?
I don't reckon.
I don't think so. I mean, it depends. We don't know if he has games like that every week. Well, of course he will.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, we'll probably know more when we're about 8 to 10 weeks in, I'd say.
I can't get over like the way Geelong are, like how they've been so consistent over the past 20 something years now.
Yeah.
All those off the table deals, mate.
The only thing I'll add to the Eagles Suns game, Harley Reid. I haven't brought into the hype, and I still haven't.
I brought into the hype last year. I was all about it.
Yeah, I loved watching him last year. Apparently, he was pretty ordinary in this game, and he took a bit of a dive as well.
He did.
Todd showed me that footage on the plane, and that was pretty poor. Do you reckon he's already clocked out? Do you reckon he's leaving at the end of the year?
100%.
Or do you think it's too early to tell?
No, he's clocked out, and I reckon Oscar Allen's clocked out too. Allen will potentially probably end up at Brisbane.
Which is strange for a captain, because they gave him captaincy last year.
I think they only gave him captaincy so he'd stay.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I do like the pickup of Graham and Baker, though.
Yep.
Yeah, and Waterman's, but he went down injured as well. But Waterman, he could be a plugger, kick 100 goals a season. He's incredible.
He actually could be, but another one that's injury prone.
Yeah.
Artie's put biggest crowd at the MCG this year will be the A-League All-Stars versus Liverpool. I said that's probably only because Eminem's not coming this year. Otherwise, it'll probably be him. Because what was it last year? Last year was Taylor Swift. The year before was Ed Sheeran. So.
No, I reckon I think the WWE is coming back, but the MCG this time instead of Perth, so it might be us this time.
Oh.
Interesting. Oh, I just realised the time. We better get moving along. Before we do, just quickly, Jackson Archer should not have gotten 3 weeks for that incident. He
should have gotten a free kick.
100% agree with you. What would have happened, and this is what Todd was saying, what would have happened if Jackson Archer's leg actually got broken? What would happen there? Would the other guy get 3 weeks?
Yeah. Isn't this what, was it Stevie J that this rule was introduced? Or no, Thomas? Lindsay Thomas?
Maybe, yeah.
It was years ago, but there's a reason it was introduced was because of a broken leg.
Yep, exactly. It's pretty poor, and I'm glad that they're challenging it.
Yes.
All right, let's move on.
All right, moving into round 2. We got Thursday night Carlton versus Hawthorn. Looks to be a cracker of a game for a Thursday night.
Hawks by 70.
I don't know about 70. I reckon it's going to be a closer. What's the weather?
I'm going to say Hawks by 8 and break Carlton's heart.
No, I'm gonna go Hawks by like 45 points, and then everything to be reviewed again at the club, like we bloody always do every 6 weeks.
Yep. I'm gonna go Hawks by 7. 17. Sorry, 17. Artie's got Hawks by 100 points. Then we move into Friday night. We got Bulldogs and Collingwood taking on each other for the Dogs' 100 year anniversary.
Yeah. I think this can go either way. I do think so too.
It'd
I
be,
think with them still missing Jamara and Bont and Trelaw,
Jones
like Colin would get the upper edge, adding Degoe back in.
and Jones as well.
Goey's back. That's good to hear.
Yeah, I am leaning towards Pies. I haven't made my decision yet, but yeah, I'll probably lean towards.
I'm not going to say a huge win, but I reckon Colin would buy at least 15.
I thought you were going to say 50 then.
Nah, about 15.
Huge.
Aaron Collin will buy 17 as well. But I think our Steel Sidebottom might be your sub this week. I think it'll be his turn.
Nah, he played way too good. He was like third best on ground.
Yeah, but you might just need that little rest and come on at the halftime or something.
Come on, be damaging.
Yeah. Then we got Sunday Arvo. We got Essendon and Adelaide in Melbourne.
This is a tough one.
It is very tough. I'm leaning towards Essendon. I'm gonna jump on the edge and go for Essendon.
I'm going Adelaide just because I just don't trust Essendon.
I'm going to go Adelaide because I feel like the performance on the weekend is what I expected them to do last year when I tipped them to finish top 8. And I feel like they've got the mojo at the moment.
They do have the mojo. I still think at the MCG, I think Essendon's gonna get them. Then we move into Port Adelaide versus Richmond in Adelaide.
Tigers.
Port
No, I'm
bounce
joking.
back.
Yeah, I think Port.
And I think Port bounce back in a big way. I reckon this is going to be a 40-point drumming easy.
Yep.
I'm going to say Port. I don't know by how much.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Port by.
You just
by
don't want it
5
to be a
goals.
lot. You want it to be as small as possible.
Yeah, I think Richmond will still show a bit of heart, but I reckon the performance this week might actually make them a bit tired.
And then we got St Kilda and the Cats at Marvel. I think it's going to be another demolished job for the Cats.
I think so.
I
Sorry.
reckon it will, but I don't think it'll be as much as a demolishing as what they did to Freo. I think St Kilda will tighten up on their defensive tactics and they'll slow it down a lot.
Yep. Then the one Jamar's interested in is Brisbane Lions at home taking on the West Coast. I think West Coast may bounce back, but I think they needed a home game to bounce back for, so I think they're going to get a bit sorted here. I think we're looking probably about 20, 25 points, I reckon. I reckon that they're going to take the foot off the pedal, maybe take off a few of their stars, Brisbane, and yeah.
I reckon Brisbane by about 45.
I'm going Brisbane by 70.
70, ooh. Then we go to Marvel Stadium on Sunday afternoon with North Melbourne versus Melbourne, which I'm going North Melbourne on this one.
I'm going to go D's. After what I saw on the weekend, I think D's are primed, and I'm starting to see them like the Dogs, where they're inconsistent and they can let you down. But I'm going to go D's, even with North's improvement.
I'd say the Jerry Gorm battle is going to be one of the ages. It's going to be great.
Yep.
But I'm slightly going towards the D's. I think North will put up a good fight, but I don't reckon they'll have 4 quarters in them.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
And then we got Sunday night, we got Freo taking on the grand finalists from last year, Sydney Swans, which Freo are hot favourites at $1.68.
Yeah, I can Freo to bounce back this week.
I reckon.
I think if Freo bounce back, that's Sydney 0-3.
Yes. So I'm leaning to the way I seen Fremantle play like this game and the Indigenous game. I'm heading towards Sydney. I'm going Sydney. Sydney's going to go over there and get the dub.
Yeah, I'm going to go Sydney for that same reason, because Freo they haven't hit that straps that they were last year.
Nice, boys. Nice. All right. Sorry, go.
Sorry, that's the wrap of that. And now quickly we got Eggy's Road to Glory has started off with no glory, just the bill, But just the hole. So I'm doubling down. Third week lucky. So I'll let you know what I put on. I'm probably gonna put I still got $8 to put on and $2 in the bank.
On West Coast.
Maybe. Oh no, I won't put on West Coast. That's for sure. I'll put on North Melbourne at $3. But I'm gonna have a little dip and do a multi now that I can get back on the sports bet, and hopefully I'll be able to drum up about $50 to $60 to get me going for next week. But I'll let you all know.
Hopefully you do, Eggy. Hopefully you do. Do you know one thing about Thailand? Gambling is banned.
Well, I don't think it's not that it's banned. I think you're not allowed to use sports bet in other countries.
No, it's illegal.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's illegal. I googled it because I couldn't access Tab, Sportsbet, nothing. And the only time you can bet like gamble is there's once a year they do something, or no, it's the local lotto, bingo lotto sort of thing that they do that the government run,
Yep.
and they've got like one or two horse tracks in Bangkok that you can go there and bet on, but you can't do it any other time.
Yes.
Highly
Yeah,
illegal. So crazy, huh?
very
Absolutely
crazy.
crazy. But before we wrap up, boys, we've got some viewers' questions come in. So as always, thank you for submitting the questions, guys. We can't do this segment without your support and your love. Very Carlton focused this week. So I'll start with Artie. 0 and 3. Are Carl Scum already preparing for the 2026 season? So I think he means if they start 0 and 3.
Well, I think he's already calling it because you're up against his team, so he's saying you're going down.
Well, it's Hawks and Pies, I believe. So it is highly possible.
Yep.
What do you guys think?
Well, we saw Brisbane last year.
It is very possible.
It is very possible. We saw Brisbane last year. They were 0 and 3, and they look how they finished. So it's not all bad news going 0 and 3.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's still way too early. Sydney could be 0 and 2, 0 and 3.
Sorry, you've got it's Carlton Hawks, Carlton Dogs, Carlton Collingwood. Next
Yeah,
3
so
weeks.
tough 3 weeks coming up.
Yes.
Games could go
And
in.
then you've got West Coast in round 5.
That's still tough. No, the way we played Thursday. Yeah, I think it's still too early to tell, to be honest, Artie. If we start 0 and 7, then definitely Voss will get the sack.
I still think they'll bounce back. We've seen, and I think the biggest point of Carlton is the small forwards. They don't have one that's of good quality.
Not yet, no. Fogarty does like a Schultz role where he's actually is that defensive forward. He racks up the tackles, press racks every game. Doesn't kick a lot of goals. Motlop is supposed to be that goal kicker, and I don't know why we pick Francis.
Actually, Silvani back in the slider, he actually showed some glimmers of a nice little small forward. Actually,
he went forward late in the game.
Yes.
I like him. I think he's so versatile. He can play any position, literally.
Yeah.
And I rate him highly. He's just improved more and more over the years. But all right, we'll keep moving on. So it's another Carlton question from Carlton Flaggers 2025. If you haven't checked him out on Instagram, make sure you do. Is Carlton's list overrated?
I don't think so. Nah, you don't have the two-time Brownlow medalists, two Coleman medalists. One's even won it twice. Yeah, I think they just I don't know what it is. They just can't quite put it to paper yet.
I don't think the team list isn't overrated, but I think there's certain players in there that aren't superstars that were classed as that. Like, I don't believe Sam Walsh is a superstar. He's a good player. Your superstars to me would be Wiedering, Tom De Koning, Paddy Cripps. And then you've got your good players like Walsh, you've got Chera, like that's, and Curnow, he'd be a superstar. Mackay is either horrible or superstar. There is no in between with him.
Yep.
So I wouldn't say the list is overrated, but I think you've got a lot of players that are individually they're overrated to make the list sound overrated.
I think we're too one-dimensional and too slow through the middle. I really do. We don't have that player, and that's what we were hoping Jagger Smith to be. Was that player who had the quick feet, the sidestep out of the middle. So yeah, I think even though he's a first-year player, I think he's been a pretty big loss because I think we were, relying on him a lot already.
Well, going from first-year players, the ones that are coming this year are looking pretty good. So it wouldn't surprise me if he was good himself.
Absolutely. All right, keep moving through. So
before we read the next one, Jamar, the Statsman's put Brisbane a chance to thrash on West Coast. I think we went through this. I reckon 25. Taz said 40, and
70.
Turtles got them by 70 points, winning by.
Especially at the Gabba.
Yeah, especially at the Gabba. All right, what were you saying, Taz?
Solly Solomon has sent through the next one. Thoughts on the Tigers? Lucky game or skilled side?
On the fence. I don't reckon it was a lucky game. I reckon they turned on when they needed to, and they found the way to win. They found the hole in Carlton's back line, and then they were able to hit it and hit it hard and fast.
I think it's hard to say because Carlton, as I said, played very bad. Their skills were just deplorable at best. Richmond deserve the win, deserve all the glory they get from this. But as we all know, when you've got such a young team and young players, they can't sustain it for an entire year. They get tired. They don't have the mental or the physical fitness. So I can't see Richmond winning another 3 games for the year.
I don't think it was a lucky game. I think that they come out and as soon as they got a bit of a sniff, you know what happens to young players. We saw it with Hawthorn. As soon as they get a sniff, they just get the energy and they just run and pressure and turnovers happen. Then they get speed on the ball.
Yeah.
They just pressured Carlton to making silly mistakes and capitalized. But yeah, so I wouldn't say it was lucky. I wouldn't say that they're skilled. I think that they just did the fundamentals really, really well.
And also just to add to that, I think it would be fair to say no one has played against that Richmond team.
Correct.
Like, there's no, Voss couldn't have sat back and watched previous game plays and this is how we're going to coach and this is how we're going to set up our defence and zones and whatever. No one knew. Like, it's a lucky draw against a team that is practically brand new.
That's a really good point. And I remember reading something about that. Who's the coach there now? Uze,
yeah. He has no aura, apparently.
But he also has not had a full team to pick from because of injuries. So you're right. 100% you're right. It's really going to be really hard to research them would have been previously. And last but not least, Zoe has put miss me ? I think because she hasn't been submitting anything through the questions. So Zoe, we always miss you. But thank you very much, everyone, for submitting the questions. As I mentioned before, we can't do this segment without you guys. So keep an eye out roughly a day or two before the show. So Saturday, Sunday to submit your questions on Instagram. Or if you think of one during the week, send us a message on Instagram or TikTok as well.
Beautiful. And also, we might have a bit of a surprise sort of stream on Thursday.
Where we're at, TNT.
That was going to come up as I went back to our other screen, waiting for the thing to come up, but I'll still talk. We got some footy cards we're going to open up on stream on Thursday. So we're going to have a quick one before the game, and we're talking to Turtle about it. Actually, tell us your idea, Turtle.
Just more so AFL footy cards. I think that, we kind of get wrapped up in talking about, specific players or ones that have stood out for the week. But I think, we're in round 1, opening up a pack of footy cards each week and kind of discussing the players that come out of that because they'll be a bit more obscure than, your standard superstars that always get brought up in conversation. You'll get your rookie cards as well. Can have a conversation about them. And really, you've got 24 weeks to get there. See if we can complete the set by the time we get to the end of the year.
Yes. So we got 3 to open this week, and then hopefully I'll be able to buy some more to before they all sell out and to open up throughout the year.
I like it, boys. Good stuff. Love it. That's it, I think. That
is the wrap. Make sure the tipping. We'll dive through it properly a bit more next week when we have a bit more time. That's about it.
Love it. Anything else from you, Turtle?
No, that's it. Thank you very much for having me, boys.
Thank you so much for filling in. Sorry, Eggy, didn't mean to cut you off.
That's right. I was about to say the same thing. Thank you for filling in, and it's really good to have you on board.
It's been great. Good to get another pious opinion.
Yeah.
Hey, I wasn't too pious at all. Thank you.
Hashtag pious instead of bias in chat, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Let's hope round 2 is an explosive round of footy.
Let's hope so. All right. See you all next week.